Hi, folks. I'm Jamie Hiles.
I'm Lydia Judy.
And I'm the snipster, Derek Laster.
This is Screen Bloody Movies, the podcast where we review a horror movie each week, go over the horror news, and Derek gets snipped. Tell us about your snipping adventure, Derek.
Well, I like to cut paper. A great pastime of mine.
You really like to cut the cheese, let's be honest.
I do like to cut the cheese. It's not like it's not like, I mean, it's a necessity. It's a way of life, really.
For you, it 100%
Nothing I can do about it. Whatever, you're right behind me.
Yeah, I mean, we're 1A and 1B. I'm not going to lie about that. But I just choose not to do it in front of the cast and crew, whereas Derek just, lets them out.
Well, I can't really say anything about that. It's true.
Cannot deny that. How are you, Lydia?
Really good. Just ate a bunch of birthday cake, so I am like all sugared up.
Yeah, I'm with you. I ate that same birthday cake, and really rich, yeah?
Oh yeah, super rich.
Really good though. Really good. I had 2 bowl taco salads. I'm good to go.
Well, I had 4 Oreos and cookies, Oreos and milk, I guess, because the Oreos are the cookies before I came down here. So, I'm right there with you guys.
Yeah, Oreos and cookies are good too. Yeah,
full of sugar today.
We're all sugared up, ready to go because we have to talk. We have to smile all through this one. Can you imagine if we just had to hold a smile the whole time?
Nope.
Like the whole time? Yeah.
Oh, when your cheeks would just be cramping.
I like to do Nicholson's Joker. Why did they get a load of me? Life's been good to me. Well, guys, before we start discussing Smile, I've got a metric crapload of horror news. Like, there's a lot. So a lot happened. So let's go through it. You ready?
Ready.
Start with this bit because it kind of continues a journey we've been on. Last week we watched The Exorcist, and we talked about them doing the new Exorcist. Well, now it's been confirmed that Linda Blair is returning for the new Exorcist sequel as well.
Really?
Didn't they rap already?
I mean, I thought they did, but it's apparently she filmed, but she's appearing in the sequel. They kept it under wraps. She's set to return as Reagan. So I'm going to, if I were to guess, I would guess that she will be there with Chris. Because remember, the father ends up going to Chris McNeil. The Chris McNeil character, and then she has to go to, I guess they'll end up discussing it with Reagan, or Reagan will pass on after that or whatever. But Linda Blair's back. What are you guys' thoughts?
That's good.
Yeah.
You kind of almost had to, right? You almost kind of had to.
Yeah, it's like
not to.
Yeah, we kept saying that. We're like, is Linda Blair going to be in it? Or
yeah, why is she not in that? What are we doing here with our lives?
Right.
But, David Gordon Green's like, I'm pulling 100% of Halloween 2018. We're going to have everybody back. Anybody that's still alive is coming back.
Right.
So, yeah, that's interesting. This is pretty weird news. But Adam McKay, the Will Ferrell's frequent collaborator that did, like Anchorman and all of those. He is directing a new serial killer comedy called Average Height and Average Build, directed or starring Robert Pattinson.
Oh, I heard about this.
Yeah. It the plot is Pattinson will play a serial killer who enlists a lobbyist, played by Amy Adams, to change laws that will allow him to get away with murder more easily. Robert Downey Jr. is a retired cop who won't give up on the murders, and the killer tries to prevent him from dogging on his trail now that he's hung up his gun. What do you guys think?
Guys, I don't know if I can handle a movie with Robert Pattinson and Robert Downey Jr. together.
And Amy
think
Adams
my
is
heart
cast.
That's a lot of Roberts.
my heart might explode, guys. I don't know.
That's a pretty stacked movie with
That's very
talent,
stacked.
yeah.
Yeah. Amy Adams is great too. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think this sounds a lot of fun.
I agree.
This would go really well. We don't have a release date or anything on it, but I'm down. I'm down with that. Guys, there is another new Amityville. It's called Amityville: An Origin Story. It is a limited series on MGM Plus that takes you back inside the House of Horror. It tells the story behind the world's most infamous haunted house tale. What are you guys' thoughts on another Amityville?
Well,
at least
Jamie,
this
do
one's
you
an
watch all
official
of them?
one. Dude, I haven't seen all of those. There's so many.
Yeah.
Now, the original cycle, the original MGM ones, I mean, I did watch Amityville, Amityville 2, The Possession, Amityville 3D. I watched the clock one, It's About Time. I watched several of those the Dollhouse one. I watched one about the dollhouse. They were coming out on VHS back in those days. But I've not seen all of them because Amityville as a brand is kind of public domain. Anybody can make an Amityville movie. But this is an MGM Amityville series. So, I mean, But we've seen so many Amityville, right?
Yeah, we'll have to see it. I don't know how appealing it sounds.
Yeah, I think we said all we need to say about Amityville at this point. What do you guys think?
Yeah. I mean, I definitely have not kept up on them, so.
So I think we should just Amity chill. Might be the worst joke I've ever said in my life.
Derek, that was my favorite.
I think that's a really good one. It's much better than the one you said last week that I 100% kept in the episode.
I don't remember what it was.
It was something that you went on like a little tirade of story of some sort, and I just was like, that might be a casualty. And I kept it in anyway. Because it's too funny. Guys, we got an update on Crystal Lake, the Brian Fuller series. Adrienne King, who of course played our original final girl, Alice, in the first movie, met with the writers. She said that she will have a recurring role. And remember, we said that she'll have a recurring role. We knew that. But they're actually running a writer's room right now with it. And it's coming out next year. So it's actually, I mean, it's happening. It's not one of those things that we hear about and never hear about it again. It's actively working.
So does that mean that they're going to stop? Like, they're going to take over after the first one? Because she died in the second one.
Yeah, I don't know what this means because she's also much, much older. She's probably not playing the same character, or they retcon something, or who knows.
Man, she's probably in the right age bracket to play Jason's mom.
Oh, she can 100% play Mrs. Voorhees at this point. Yeah.
Hey, what about that?
I mean, that's a possibility.
I should be in that writer's room. I'll throw out all kinds of bad ideas.
You tell them, in this episode, we need Gabriel, you see?
Yeah.
The world's going to end, and they're going to fight.
Love it.
So, what do you guys think of this?
Yep.
Down for it.
So apparently Brian Fuller is saying, he said he's mapped out 3 seasons and has finally, so he's mapped out 4 seasons of this show. So if
that kind of concerns me.
Why?
I'm just 4 whole seasons. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know how you get 4 seasons out of that without because this is just to kind of like rewind. They have access to
all of it.
All of it. All of it.
All of it. Yeah. We remember that news broke that they're working with Horror Inc. Yeah.
Okay, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah, it doesn't. I mean, I would rather him have it mapped out and know where it's going.
I mean, that is true because you get into a situation like Game of Thrones. Don't get me started, but
yeah.
Yeah,
You want to be
I
at that-
definitely
yeah,
think
yeah.
you need to have like a story in mind so you can get to the end and not just
Mhm.
like meander.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
okay.
So yeah, I mean, I'm down. Down. Guys, 20th Century Fox is looking to remake The Fly again.
Oh. Okay.
Now, that again, okay, except I don't know how you can do The Fly better than Cronenberg's 86 version. I mean, that's
No.
just
Right.
apex filmmaking. And I think that's all that's the best version of that story that it could possibly be.
Yeah.
In my opinion.
Yeah. It would almost just be like it would have to be like the same story, but like a different actor. You know?
Well, they're looking for Zendaya to star in it.
Okay, I could see that.
As I'm guessing the Gina Davis role.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe
Is what
they
I would
gender
guess.
swap it.
They could. The
But
rumors
yeah, I
are.
could picture her as the Gina Davis role for sure.
They said that it seems like they're looking for her for the main role. It'd be interesting to see a female fly. This is just like a rumor that's being floated around.
Mhm.
So there's not a lot of stock to be put into this. But what are you guys' thoughts?
I think that would be interesting to have a female fly role because of just like body horror kind of stuff in general seems to affect females a lot in history. So that might be interesting.
No, I don't think that's a bad idea. I think that would be the only way you could do it, because if you just, no matter what, this movie's going to get compared to, the 86 Fly, and that's just not fair.
Yeah.
Because that movie
Yeah.
is literally perfect. We have to do that sometime soon.
Yeah, I really love the original Fly too.
The original's, the original's fun. It's hokey as shit.
Yeah,
But it's
I
fun.
love it.
I can't remember the last time I saw that movie.
Which
Been a
one? The
long
black
time.
and white one or the 86 one?
The
Goldblum?
86 one.
Yeah.
Derek doesn't watch black and white movies.
No.
I know.
Even
I
when he
didn't know.
does, he sees them in color.
Even when he does, he doesn't. Yeah. Poor bastard.
One day, guys. One day. I'm gonna get my revenge.
So, this is a bit. Do you guys remember Army of the Dead? You watched Army of the Dead, right, Derek? Did you watch it, Lydia?
Yeah.
You're muted, Derek. Come on, man. Come on.
Derek.
Whatever. It's been raining a lot, and the sub pump is like going crazy. So I'm trying to save you guys.
We can't even hear it.
I know, because I keep muting it. So that was the new one. That was the Zack Snyder one, right?
That Zack Snyder Netflix movie.
Man,
Yeah.
I started it and I never got to finish it.
Oh, it's pretty good.
It
Did
looked
you like it,
good.
Lydia?
I really liked it, yeah.
Yeah, it's fun. So they're making a sequel called Planet of the Dead. But it has to. They're in a holding pattern right now because they're waiting for Zack Snyder to figure out the whole Rebel Moon universe. But it is happening. He said the real adventure would be to see what happened. Well, I can't read it because Derek hasn't seen it yet. So,
I mean, feel free. I will watch
no.
it eventually.
Yeah,
I have a vague idea of what happens because, like, I think it's all contained within a border, right?
Yeah, but so there's a certain character that this is going to looks like it's going to hinge upon, and that's what the sequel looks like. The sequel's moving towards. So we'll see. But I'm excited. I liked that movie enough that I would like to see what happens next.
Mm-hmm.
I thought it was a lot of fun.
Yeah, it is. It's a fun one for sure. We got a lot of those to catch up on, actually.
Yeah, we do.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, right. And then finally, last bit of horror news, guys. The Edgar's Nosferatu is actually happening. Like, this thing has been teased for 6 years. We've talked about it for 2 years at least. But it's actually happening. They have a website now. A website up for this movie, and we have an unofficial synopsis, which is in this highly influential silent horror. Oh no, that's just for the original. Never mind. I was like, wait, what? But it's happening. It has a website and everything.
Dang.
How excited are you for Robert Edgar's Nosferatu?
I'm so excited. I wish I could be there. I wish I could work on that.
Yeah.
They would just hire me or something to do something, like literally anything.
Anything on it? Anything?
Yeah, I'm still not convinced until it's on Facebook. Then it's Facebook official.
Facebook official. Now we're Facebook official, guys. And that wraps up the horror news. I'm excited for that as well. I love a good Nosferatu, a good vampire story.
Yeah.
You know, we're kind of suckers for him here, I feel like. We have to hit Bram Stoker's stuff up still. We have to do the original Drac. We have to do Bram Stoker's Dracula.
I can't imagine making Derek sit through Nosferatu.
Oh God, it would never happen.
Because that's like a double whammy. It has no words, and it's in black and white.
It's so good though.
Yeah, I mean it's a little rickety these days. It's rickety for sure.
The
the aging on it, it's still like, you're still like, oh, this is cool. There's some great shots in it, and like you're like, oh, this is some cool atmosphere, but it's also like kind of boring. You just kind of like,
well, and that's I know we talk about it a lot, but that's one you really have to put yourself like in the shoes of somebody, in that era.
Yeah,
you
well,
can't compare it.
You can't also. I mean, it's a very, very important movie for horror cinema. All right, guys. So tonight's episode is over the 2022 film Smile, written and directed by Parker Finn, based off of his short story called Laura Hasn't Slept.
Ooh.
Which is funny. The woman that we meet at the beginning of this movie is Laura from the short.
Mm-hmm. Oh, okay.
Really?
Which is similar to kind of what we're doing with Secret Admirer, where we have the character from the short move into the feature, and those events are canon. So I saw that and I was like, yeah, I'm picking up what you're putting down because I did the same thing. So Smile, Lydia, you picked this. So this is your second time watching it, yes?
Yes. So everybody keeps coming up to me everywhere I go. Have you seen Smile? Have you seen Smile yet? And I'm like, okay, what is the hype of this movie? Like, what is going on? It's scary. I'm like, no, it's not. It can't be that scary. Like, it can't be that good. So I finally sat down and watched it. It's been on our list for a minute. And then I watched it and I was like, holy shit, I have to talk about this with these guys. Like, we have to talk about this movie. Can't just sit back and wait. So I decided to pick it. So your guys' first watch?
Yes. Derek, this is your first watch, yes?
Yep.
Yeah, mine too.
Have
you heard of it?
Only from you guys. Maybe I saw like the poster, maybe. And but I hadn't seen any type of actual advertisement for it. Like a trailer.
Yeah, I saw some. I saw quite a bit of ads for it. Like, what was it that I kept seeing it on? It was like Hulu or some shit. It kept popping up as the, Smile's coming out, or because it's not. I don't get ads on YouTube, so it wasn't there. And then during football season, that's what it was. It kept popping up, Smile.
Yeah. And
I'm like, oh, I'll check that out. So Mom and Dad went and saw it, and Dad was like, yeah, it's all right. And I was like, oh, okay. I'll have to check that out. And then never did. And then you picked it. And so I was like, well, all right. I guess I'll check that out. I guess I'll watch it now.
So I'm going to go on a little soapbox here for just a second. It won't be very long. But I think that's one of the things that for all the great things the internet has given us, this is one of the downsides. Because the way that you used to consume a lot of the trailers, especially like the real big ones the first time, is by going to the movies and watching the previews.
Mm-hmm.
And I miss that so much because like I rarely get to go to the movie theater anymore. And it was just like, it's crazy that the trailers used to be an event at the movie that you were going to watch.
Well, they still are if you go. Like I went and saw, last movie I saw was Scream 6. And there's some pretty cool. The trailer for Evil Dead Rise. By the way, Evil Dead Rise is going to slap, guys.
Yes.
It's going to slap. We've got to see it. We've got to see it. The only thing is that Connor's going to be bored around that time. So we're going to have to figure out some kind of wacky way to see it. But we've got to see that one because it looks legit. But anyway, that trailer played and it, was like, wow. But yeah, you're right. I mean, the big way I remember seeing trailers was renting VHSs and on TV, just on TV. Yep, and just TV. Like their TV spots, and that still happens. But I don't watch enough TV. But either way, yeah, it's interesting that does that. But I do remember when we went and saw the remake of Evil Dead, after the movie was over, because I stayed till after the credits because Bruce Campbell has a cameo. So we stayed till after the credits. Bruce had his little cameo, and then it just started playing the trailer for The Conjuring afterwards.
Oh.
And we were just like, what the fuck is this?
What?
And it just started playing it. And so we were like, we never heard of it before. That was the first time we ever heard of it. And so we sit there and watch this trailer, and Dad and I looked at each other, and Dad's like, that was badass. We're going to have to check that out. I was like, yeah.
Dude, that's cool. Well, this one actually had like an interesting ad campaign.
It had a very good viral marketing campaign.
Yes, where they had people smiling in the bleachers of like football games and stuff like that. And I don't watch football games, but I saw it go viral online, and I was like, wait, okay, so what is this? It made me definitely interested in the movie.
Yeah, it was during the baseball games, the Major League Baseball games.
That's right, yeah. And people are standing dead eyes, smiling.
Yeah, behind home plate and stuff.
That was cool. I thought that's pretty smart. I think that's kind of neat.
That is pretty smart.
This movie was
see any of that, but that sounds great.
Yeah.
This movie was a pretty sizable hit. Before we get into it, it made $217 million worldwide, so that's a big number.
That's crazy.
And it made 105 here in the States alone. Horror's been raking it in, guys, especially here in the States.
Because this movie
17 million.
Yeah, I was gonna say it couldn't have been crazy because
no, there's some jank on some special effects that were stretching the dollar. We'll talk about those. Where do you guys want to start?
I think we need to start in the beginning, man.
Derek, you
every
son
good
of a bitch.
journey starts at the beginning.
Not true. We start in the middle of Batman Begins, and then go backwards.
You know what? Besides that one movie,
that's a lot of
Christopher Nolan has like a get out of jail free card because he's got like Memento.
Yeah, Memento starts at the end almost.
Yeah, pretty much. He's like, you know what? I'm going to do everything backwards
and forwards, and then just mix them together.
Yeah.
Have you ever seen Memento, Lydia?
Oh
God, you got to check that out. It's not a horror movie, but it's great. Yeah, it's a great one. Yeah, Guy Pearce stars in it.
Yep.
Okay, so this movie starts in a hospital, and the one thing I will say about this movie is I do like a lot of the shots, and I do like the way a lot of it is photographed. Towards about the middle end of the movie, I feel like they reuse those same shots a bunch of times, and I was like, okay, I get it. Thanks for showing the upside down skyline for the third time. But like the first time, I was like, that's an interesting shot. But I think this movie is very well shot and very well lit. And we start off meeting our main character, Rose, and she's like a psychiatrist in a mental hospital. And we get like for a while, we get a long scene of just day in the life, really, before Laura comes in. Well, we get a little bit of time.
The opening scene, you see what we turn out to be her mom. Like
in the very opening. That's right. Yeah. That's right. Yeah, the
And
very
you see
opening,
her find her.
Yeah, we get like her mom's overdosed essentially,
Yeah.
and is dead on the bed, and she kind of looks in. We have no context for this yet,
Nope.
except that if you've ever seen any movie ever, you know that that's her mom. Like,
Right.
it's
Yeah.
not, it's not like, I wonder when this mystery is going to be solved.
Because she wakes up from a dream that she was having.
Yeah. Yeah, and then we're thrown into this day in the life hospital scene. It's really a section where we just are kind of, we're seeing her talk to this one patient who, she's talked to several times, and he's just kind of quiet, and he just gets into this motion where he keeps repeating the words, gets stuck in like a cycle. So we get like introduced to her job and her character, and then she's just about to leave. She shuts off all the lights, and the phone rings. So she answers it, and then she's back bringing in a new patient, which is Laura, this girl who's like having delusions, so to speak. And she says she just keeps seeing people smiling at her. Essentially, it's what she said. They just that's coming at, it wears different faces, and it's always smiling, and it's going to get me. And she's just kind of like, what? Which, to be honest, anybody would say.
Right.
Oh, yeah, for sure. If you just meet somebody. And so there's a couple of things like, so she has a meeting with her boss. And he kind of like is like, did you work the late shift last night? Because she's still wearing the same clothes. That's what I gathered.
Yeah.
So she's a workaholic, and she's about to leave, and then she hears the phone ring, and she can't let it go.
Yeah.
So, like, that's setting up her character in this. And I love the interaction with her and this person because, what'd you say her name was? Laura?
Yeah, it's Laura. So it's the protagonist of the short film.
Yeah, because she's like, look, I'm not crazy. I'm a PhD student at like this college. She was like, I'm trying to tell you. And so she's trying to tell her this. And, I've got to tell you, if someone said that to me, I think they were batshit crazy. But,
well, yeah, I mean,
that's just a natural reaction.
Never would you say, oh shit, really? Wears different faces?
Yeah. Have you tried a crucifix? Holy water?
Yeah. Yeah. So so she says this being's coming after her. Then she says it's there. And then she like falls down and starts crawling backwards. And then something attacks her. And she breaks a vase as she falls. Lights go flickering. She goes and she makes a phone call. Rose does, to bring in the help. And when she turns back around, Laura is standing there smiling at her. And she takes the shard and slices her own throat in front of her.
In the shape of a giant smile.
Yep. And then dies. And she, witnesses this, which sets off our chain of events. What do you guys think of this opening?
I think it's freaky. Just like, yeah, I don't know. The way the atmosphere, you get this kind of dense atmosphere where you're like, because it's a horror movie, right? So they're like making it as thick as possible. And they're just like, you're like, okay, waiting for this girl. I mean, everything before this is kind of like, all right, we're talking to this guy, next person. And then this girl comes in and she's like, so emotional about her believing her. And she's like, great. No, you don't even believe me,
Yeah.
And then she just kind of like disappears, she freaks out and then disappears. And she's just looking around the room. Pretty creepy.
Yeah, what do you think, Derek?
No, I agree with that. I think the best thing that this film, not one of the best things, but one of the great things that this film has going for it is like kind of the calling card of the entity. Like a smile is supposed to be inviting and trusting, but the way that they have distorted it by making it completely over exaggerated. And when she does kill herself, there's no emotion, there's no flinch, there's just that smile. And so it is pretty unnerving to see someone do that.
Yeah, it's it's a pretty good, solid opening.
Mhm.
What I'll say for the movie and for this scene in general is your mileage with this movie is going to it's going to be determined by how scary you find somebody smiling at you.
Mm-hmm.
Really, because I'm not going to lie, guys. The smile just doesn't do it for me. It's not sinister or scary for me. So the first time it's in this scene is very solid. There's a scene later where it happens that
Mhm.
I just started laughing. Like I
Yeah.
couldn't.
Curious, which one?
It's the guy. It's the guy.
The guy
Oh.
patient.
The guy patient. Yeah. I
Uh,
just could not. I just was like, what the fuck? Like, I
yes,
couldn't do
and
it.
it totally comes down to like the actor in the scene
That is
of
true.
like how creepy their smile actually is. I think, you know,
Yeah.
I mean, we see
and-
several smiles in this, and it's like, yeah, like that guy just has too friendly of a face. I think
that
you know,
guy
so
definitely has a too friendly of a face. Yeah,
his,
I can't
his
do it.
mouth. His mouth is too small.
maybe that's it, or
He
maybe it's
can't-
a combination of both.
Yeah, like the first girl, like she has a big smile.
Hmm.
There's a couple of characters that do, but yeah, I agree. Like his was not as I don't know what the word is, but I agree. Like his was very unnaturally.
Yeah, and there's like I said, there's just your mileage will vary. Like you
Yeah.
know, so like the movie didn't. I'm not. This didn't scare me at all. So but I do like it. So I'm ready to discuss it. But I've needed to get out of the way that what you'll find disturbing is if that smile works for you. If you see this people smiling, you're like, oh, that's really creepy and scary. Or if you're like,
Yes. No, I felt the same way. Like that's why I was like, I really need to talk about this movie because there were parts that I thought were really good, but then as a whole, I'm looking at it, I'm like, is this movie as
Yeah.
good as what people are telling me it is? Like this movie is long as hell for
it's
one.
really
is,
long.
yeah.
We will
Like 2
definitely
hours,
talk
right?
about that. Yeah, its
Yes.
runtime is kind of a problem, I think.
It's so long. And
So-
I kind of want to talk about like just the basic formula of this movie.
So I'm glad you brought that up. Let's talk about it real fast.
Yes.
This movie is The Ring.
Okay. Yeah.
Kinda.
Yeah, no, it
Got a
is.
very similar.
It's almost the same.
It's like you're gonna
You
die
ha-
in 7
You
days.
have the curse. You're gonna die in 7 days.
Yeah.
You have to do something to somebody else to pass the curse on.
I mean,
That's The Ring.
There's a couple of movies like I get your like where you're drawing the comparison. I get it.
Mhm.
Yeah, like I mean, it's The Ring.
It
It's
follows.
It follows. Yeah,
Mhm.
it follows. Yeah, Truth or Dare. Like all of those. It's a tried and true formula. That's not saying it's a bad by any stretch, but it is a formula for sure. It's very
Yeah.
derivative. It's derivative of those other movies.
Yes. And it's mixed with this formula of like scary movies today that are coming out
Yeah,
that have these upside down shots and these angles and this
it tries to mix the
timing.
A24 style with the schlock that is kind of that formula. I mean, because The Ring we've got to do The Ring someday because The Ring,
Yes.
when it came out, was fucking legit.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
Like it was legit. And so yeah, that's we'll get into that more. We'll go through the movie some more and stuff. But yeah,
Real quick, I want to see if you guys. So, do you remember when we did Oculus?
yeah,
The mom's smile in that movie.
Yes.
Yeah.
She would have been a really good person to cast in this movie as well because she has a big smile.
I
and
love her,
She would have
too.
done. She would have fit right in with this movie.
Yes. Every time I see her in The Mandalorian, I'm just
I
like,
forget.
I was
what
gonna
her
say,
name is.
isn't that Katie Sackhoff? It was.
Bo-Katan.
It is.
Yeah, it's Katie Sackhoff. Yeah,
Yes.
Bo-Katan. Yeah, she's great in The Mandalorian, though.
I know, but I'm so
God.
scared of her.
How great is Bo-Katan? Okay, anyway, let's get back into this.
Yes.
So yeah, we
And that's
established.
another part of the formula is that so many movies have used like this creepy smile thing. You know,
Yeah.
so many movies have used a creepy smile to make you afraid. or makes some people afraid. Obviously, like I wasn't that afraid, and that's why I didn't even pick this movie out to watch eventually, at first, because I'm like, oh, smile, cool, that sounds scary,
Yeah. Yeah, it's we'll get into it. So the thing about this movie that's interesting is we don't really have it kind of like the monster in It Follows. We don't have any sort of built-in mythology. We don't have any, like The Ring, for as similar as they are. The one thing that The Ring does differently is we have like an actual backstory for our monster. We know her backstory. We know that that she had this terrible upbringing. Naomi Watts thinks she needs to free her in order to free her soul. So there's a quest. There's like an end game that we're unraveling and we're moving towards. This one, we don't really have that. We have, I would even argue Rose doesn't even have a damn plan. She doesn't even have a plan.
And when she does have a plan, everybody's like, that's a dumb plan.
It's not a very good plan.
I mean, there slightly is a mythology that does develop, like her fiance or boyfriend or whoever he was. He's a police officer.
Yeah,
he responds.
And we'll get to that. Yeah, there's a mythology as far as it's happened before and how it passes on, but we don't have an origin mythology.
Right.
I mean, I agree with that.
Which is kind of what I was saying, that differs it from The Ring. Because The Ring, we definitively have that.
Right.
We know exactly why.
And that makes it kind of scary too, is that you're kind of going in like not knowing much. It's kind of like the shark in the water of like, okay, what are we doing here? Like, what are we
dealing with? Yeah. The only thing is that it's kind of muddied. We don't really know. The rules aren't clear.
Yeah, right. The rules
aren't clear.
You gotta have some rules here.
Yeah, you gotta have rules. We don't deal with rule breakers in this house. Deal with the rules. I'm just not good with confrontation.
Afraid I'm just not very good at confrontations.
Sorry, became George McFly.
I'm trying to think of
son.
What movie we just watched that was like had no rules at all, and we were like, "What? This movie makes no sense." I can't think of which one it was now.
Oh, who knows?
We did one recently.
Man?
No, it was more recent than that. That was like didn't follow any rules. Oh shoot! Oh, you know what? It might have been Nightmare on Elm Street 2.
Oh,
where you're like,
I mean, because they just took the rules of the first movie and they just threw them out the window. So Rose starts experiencing some shit. By the way, guys, her house is super nice.
Oh yeah.
What a nice house. Like, I like the way it's people in these movies, they always have like these beautiful, gorgeous houses.
Yeah. At least hers fits the profession because she's
a doctor. Right.
And it's not too overly nice too, like some movies.
it's just perfectly nice. Like the way that kitchen looks, that kitchen's gorgeous.
Oh yeah.
That's where most of our time is spent. We really only spend time in the kitchen in the living room for one scene. But we introduce some characters. We introduce her fiance, which, by the way, terrible guy, not a fan.
Yeah.
Whatever, A-Train, man.
That guy's a total jerk.
He's very self-centered.
Yes, he is.
And we find out that like he's extraordinarily self-centered towards like the middle to end of this movie, because he is thinking about his life and how she fits into his life and not how they're going to build a life together. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah. And like when shit starts to go bad for Rose, it's not even like a, hey, let's try to work. It's like, you are fucking crazy and you need to fix yourself so my life isn't inconvenienced. And I was like,
get him out of here.
Out of here.
Yeah.
Get out of here.
Don't need him.
Don't like him. So, and the first scene, he's all right. But, she starts to have these hallucinations, essentially. She starts hallucinating that there is she hallucinates somebody breaks into her house.
Now, I like the first time that she sees the smile demon. She's in her house, and
Mhm.
it's kind of like hidden in the shadows, and it's really gray. And it's just
Oh,
like the
right.
faint outline of somebody smiling. I think it was the girl who killed herself.
Yeah.
But that one was pretty. It was creepy. I liked it.
Yeah. It was okay. Yeah, it was pretty good.
Yeah.
It's pretty good. Not as good as the Night House hidden people, because nothing
Well,
beats that
no, but like
nothing beats that except for Hill House.
on a different
Exactly.
level.
Yeah.
No, I really like that too. And then it starts to escalate because then she gets a phone call. First, like her alarm goes off. She's like making a present, doing a present, and she for her nephew's birthday, because she's starting to just see stuff everywhere. She sees, like, she's starting to just see people, and she's like, oh, is that a smile face? Is this guy really smiling at me, or is that the smile guy? And she gets a call. She's wrapping this present for her nephew, and she hears the alarm go off. So she, gets a phone call, and it's from the alarm company saying, hey, we're checking on you. But they didn't. It's like a fake. She hallucinated the phone call, because then the real person calls. And what'd you guys think of that bit?
Ooh, that's freaky. Ooh.
You're muted, buddy.
So they did this a couple of times.
Yeah.
I thought this one was pretty effective. Which the girl at the beginning, Laura, kind of told her like this, vaguely in her rant, like this stuff is happening. It'll make you see things that aren't there and stuff like that. But yeah, so there's this one, and there's one kind of towards the end with her therapist. But it's pretty effective, because I would freak out because the operator is like, oh, you should look behind you.
Yeah. And she does, and it's not there, but then it just, yeah, it's pretty good. And then she drops a wine glass. This is the one time that made me laugh, the one joke, when he says, Rose, did you drop another wine glass?
Like, how many wine glasses do you have to drop?
So she sees she goes and sees the one patient, and she sees him, like, yelling at her. Like, he starts yelling at her, saying that she's going to die. She's going to die. She's going to die. So she immediately calls for help. And he's being aggressive, and he's actually just laying in bed, like, minding his own business. And he's like, no!
Yeah.
Taken out.
She gets everyone to come restrain him and then she realizes he hasn't moved and hasn't done anything.
Yeah, that she just hallucinated all of it.
That kind of got to me, because that was one where I was like, ouch, that.
Yeah, it's
that
sad,
hurt.
poor bastard.
Yeah, it's sad.
Yeah, and so we just have, like I said, just scenes of her this is kind of happening, right? So let's go to the party scene, the birthday party scene. How many of you saw what was coming?
Oh, I did.
Me too.
Oh, me.
Yeah, me too. 1000%.
I literally jumped
You
up
didn't
and was
see
like,
you didn't see it coming, Derek?
I wasn't paying as much attention as I guess I should have, but
yeah.
I jumped up and was like, it's the cat.
I saw it coming before we even got to the party, when she's like, we just
rapping.
see the shot of the cat, and she's rapping, and then she's like, where's the cat? I was like, the cat's dead in that box.
Oh, I didn't call it that soon.
As soon as I was like, cat's dead in that box. And then
only thing that would have made this scene better is if, like, the last name of her sister husband was Schrodinger. And anybody who gets that joke,
Schrodinger's cat. So
anyway,
what do you guys think of this scene?
I think it's stressful.
Yeah, I think it's solid.
It's a solid scene.
Yeah,
do I think
solid.
it's
And
scary?
dear
Like, do you
God,
think it's scary? I think it's just stressful.
It's not scary.
kid.
It's disturbing. It's supposed to be
Yeah.
disturbing, and
Yes.
and we're supposed to feel on edge about it. And it is disturbing. It would have been more disturbing if they didn't use a CGI cat.
Mm.
Was that a CGI cat?
Yeah. Like
Yeah,
I think
or-
it was like
Yeah,
'Cause
it,
it-
was
yeah.
totally a CG cat.
it was a CG cat.
I
don't
think
know why they just
probably
didn't-
replaced it with like a
They
stuffed.
replaced it with they replaced a stuffed cat with a CG one probably.
Yep.
But they should have just used the stuffed one.
Well, yeah, they could. I mean, that kid. Could you imagine a kid? They probably
Yeah,
just
maybe
didn't
that's-
want to make that.
Maybe
kid
that's
pull a
why
dead
they didn't
cat
want
out.
to. They didn't want to like, traumatize the kid. Even though they could have said, "Look, this is a fake thing. It's not real.
Yeah,
It's make believe. You're getting paid to do this, kid."
yeah. I mean, that's how they did it back in the
I
day.
Yeah, I love
Yeah.
how the contrast of that, and then last week we talked about the director slapping somebody in the face so that they would be
Yes.
into like. By the way,
That's
I'm totally gonna.
Listen,
ahead.
that's the difference between Academy Awards and non-Academy Awards, baby.
Yeah, no
Yeah.
kidding.
Actors.
If they would have been slapping that little kid and giving him a dead cat,
Here's your dead
I'm-
cat.
here's
I'm
your
gonna-
award.
I'm gonna try
Take
this
it.
next year at Clark's 6th birthday, and I'll let you guys know how it turns out.
I would recommend not killing a real cat. I like real animals, but use a stuffed fake one.
I mean,
See
we
how it
have a
goes.
cat.
Yeah, I know. That's what
I'm
scares
not
me
fond
about
of
it.
him.
Whatever. Oliver's fine. He's fine.
Except when it
I'm
scratches
glad
you
his
when you're
name's
trying
not
to go to sleep.
Mustache.
He did scratch me one time. Oliver did. I stayed the night at Derek's and was in the spare bedroom, and I'm laying there. And Oliver usually that's where he slept, was in that spare bedroom. So I'm laying in bed, the lights off, and Oliver jumps up on me and gets freaked out, scratches the shit out of my chest. It jumps off, and I was like, "Ah!" I ran out into the hallway. Derek comes out. He's like, "What's going on?" I was like, "Fucking Oliver got me," and I had blood all over me.
Yeah, I've had that
Derek's
happen with my
double
cat.
over laughing in the hallway. That was
Yeah.
the funniest thing. Karma's coming back to bite you now, buddy. Huh?
Yeah.
So, yeah, I
So
thought the scene was fine.
I really feel for her in this
Yeah.
moment because
It's her acting is great. Let's talk about her real fast.
yes, let's.
Um,
She's amazing.
yeah, Susie Bacon, Kevin Bacon's daughter, and she's really great in this. There's some moments where I think she's too good, where she maybe pours it on a little much because we're like, yeah, you're making this movie. You're too good for this. No,
Yeah.
no, but she's really great in this movie. Like she's, towards the end, I think it's warranted. The beginning, I think maybe it was too much too soon.
Like
But,
it should have been toned down a little bit because we're
Yeah.
still just in a mediocre little horror movie at the
Well,
beginning.
More, it's just like she's still trying to like figure: is this happening? Is this not happening?
Uh-huh.
And then when she knows she's experiencing it, that's when she should be totally bonkers
Full.
10. Right?
Full terror.
Yeah, full bore.
Well, and one of the things that I don't know if it's a plot of the movie or not, but so like she has real trauma in her life,
Mhm.
her
Yes.
history, and her whole life has been really devoted to like helping other people with trauma. That's why she became
Yeah.
a psychiatrist, and so like she's already kind of like not super confident and like kind of on edge. There are scenes in this movie where I'm like, good Lord, did they like make it really cold on set? Because she's like just got the most jitteriest hands, and it
Yeah.
adds a sense of realism to like her fear and her anxiety.
Yeah.
And I feel like that
it's-
does come across in this movie. Like she did really well in this movie.
Yeah, it's a great performance. She's really great in it. And especially in this scene, because she's like, I didn't do that. The monster put it there, essentially.
Yeah, and
Like,
she
she's-
knows that
How
this
crazy
is
that sounds.
bad.
Yeah. And she's like, I didn't do that. And then she
And
falls
she's upset because
through-
that's her pet cat.
Yeah, her pet cat's dead. She grabs it. She's holding it. So her pet Mustache is dead. He didn't give anybody rides. Mustache is dead. Her nephew just got traumatized. Her sister's like, what the fuck is wrong with you? And then all of this is going on, and she trips and falls backwards into a table, a glass end table.
Shatters the little table.
Shatters
Oh.
it. Yeah. No, I think this is a solid scene too. But again, I called it for sure when I was like,
Yeah. I called, and that's the thing is like I called it, and then I think most people probably did. You know, some people
yeah,
you're
you
paying
had to.
attention.
You had to. Yeah.
Derek's like,
Was this
"Oh."
movie in color? Do you think, Derek?
Motherfuckers. Yeah, it was in color.
He told me to fuck myself.
No, I did not. I called you motherfuckers.
Oh,
That's what I said.
Yeah.
Oh shoot. Okay, so when you call it, and then you don't expect her to fall through the damn table.
Yeah, the table's a good bit.
And then she just has a full meltdown in this table with her
well,
arms
yeah,
all bleeding.
her arms are all cut up. Yeah, of course she has a meltdown.
That's some good stuff right there.
And then this is when she gets picked up by her D-bag boyfriend, and he's like, "You got to figure your shit out." And it's like,
yeah.
"Oh, hey, you're my fiance. What's going on? Let's try to work through this and figure it out. I love you,
Yeah.
you piece of
Like,
trash."
how about some compassion for your traumatized girlfriend right now?
Yeah.
Like Justin Long in Drag Me to Hell.
Exactly.
Mhm.
We all need a Justin Long in our lives, okay?
Look, check this out. Christine Brown was chased by a demon and murdered a cat as well, and her boyfriend stayed right with her.
Yes,
Mhm.
because life is short with Justin Long.
Mhm.
Yes. Sons of bitches. So yeah,
Was
so
that a
he's
plug for his
Yeah,
that's a plug for his podcast.
job?
I've been
Good
listening
job,
to it,
Lydia.
and I actually really enjoy it.
Well, yeah, it's good. So yeah, we're introduced after the crazy after that crazy scene. We're introduced earlier to Joel, her ex-boyfriend, but we don't know really much about him. He's a cop. So then she goes to him, and this is where it gets very ringy, because then they go on like a adventure together to try to solve the mystery. It's her ex-boyfriend. It's her ex-husband in the ring. It's, anyway.
Played by
thing.
Kyle Gallner,
Played by Kyle Gallner, yes.
one of my high school celebrity crushes.
Was he one of your crushes?
Oh yeah,
Really?
he's in all the horror movies.
Well, he
He's
was
kind of
in
weird. He's kind of
he
cute.
was in the awful Nightmare on Elm Street remake.
He was, and that's probably why I
Was he?
didn't hate it.
I'm pretty
hated it
sure
so
he was
bad.
also in. He was in Smallville. I think he was the Flash.
I think you're right.
Oh yeah, I never got that far. He was in
My
The
crush
Haunting in
knows
Connecticut.
limits.
Huh?
You said my crush knows limits.
Yeah. Well, he was
Draw the
in
line at Smallville.
A Haunting in Connecticut.
Yep. Yep.
Jennifer's Body,
Yep.
which I
Yeah.
think is a classic nowadays.
Jennifer's Body's
Another
interesting.
one?
I really like that movie.
There's some stuff in there. He's in Red State as well. Kevin Smith's Red
Yes.
State.
Yeah. Watched
Yep.
a lot of his movies.
And of
Turns
course,
out.
he's in the remake of the new Scream 5. He's in Scream 5.
Really?
Mhm.
All right. Well, maybe I'll have a little peek at it then.
Yeah, you have to watch so we can catch up and watch them and do them all together.
Watch
All
it
right.
through my fingers.
Lydia, is that Ghostface behind you? Don't even joke about that.
Don't even joke. It's not even funny. I was thinking though that it would be really funny if we just like had Jake come up and do his like smile like behind me or something and just like edit that in somehow. I don't know. What do you think? He's actually got a creepy smile, guys. Yeah. Figure out how to like yell for him to come up here.
I've got
Do it.
I got too jolly of a face to have a menacing smile.
Yeah, Jake's
Okay.
got like sharp features.
He's
and
got a
stuff.
pointed chin is what it is. That's what
Uh-huh.
does it.
Yeah. and he's
So
got a creepy face.
he's got that fucked up face. She goes and visits Joel, and he they start basically. This is where we start to get that backstory you're talking about, Derek.
Mm-hmm.
So go into it a little bit.
So she's kind of run out of options. Her current boyfriend thinks that she's a nutcase, and so one thing is he's a resource. He's a police officer, and she
Mhm.
at least knows that through her own research when her patient was checked in, she said that she had witnessed somebody else
Trauma.
commit suicide. Yeah.
Right.
And so she needs to know. So was this after she went to see the other person? The other person's wife? So the other person is a college professor.
Yeah, and that's after. That happens
Okay.
after, I do
So
believe.
he at least helps her like look up this person, and then he's reading through the documents, and he says, well, that's weird because this person is also stated in another police report where, he saw somebody else commit suicide. It was somebody lady at a hotel. And so that's like the breadcrumbs that leads her down this path. And so she actually goes to visit the widow of the college professor that committed suicide by a
Yes.
hammer, I think, right?
Yes. He bludgeoned himself to death with a hammer. Jake is still just standing there.
Isn't he creepy?
Yeah, it's creepy.
I can see like just a half of his face.
He's got the he should have been cast in this movie. He's got the perfect creepy smile.
So who else thinks that the
This is
professor
his
and that
audition.
student were having an affair?
I'm sorry, what was the
Um,
question? About the professor?
I think he and that lady were having an affair, but that's just a
that's not the case, at least in the short. That's her therapist. So
I
she's
guess
telling her therapist about these recurring dreams, and then Derek, you always think everybody's having an affair.
Yeah, I
So-
never would have thought that.
Yeah, I don't know.
You watch too much
why I
goddamn Dynasty or something.
too much what?
Dynasty. It was the soap from the 70s. You remember
I
Dynasty?
know. Yeah.
Um,
There was a part of this movie where I thought the creature was like guiding people to like people who had trauma, like real trauma.
mm,
And then I was like, probably not, because but whenever she goes to see the
well, it might be because, I mean, we'll get into that. Yeah, we'll talk about that.
like a bit of determinism.
Maybe like they're kind of predestined, like almost like they have a predisposition to experience it because they've already experienced the trauma.
Right.
I think there's something to that. Yeah.
Go ahead.
But what'd you think of this development of the scene that you were talking about, Derek, when she goes and visits the woman's or the widow?
Yep.
What do you guys think of this bit? Because I have something to say, which is I know she's going through a lot. I really do. But why didn't she just say she's a psychiatrist? And why did she lie and say she's a reporter?
Yeah, it makes no
Why
sense.
didn't she just say, I'm a doctor. My patient, this happened to my patient, and I'm wanting to know if there's a link. Instead, she's like, I'm a reporter.
Like, wouldn't you be more inclined to let anyone other than a reporter in your house?
You'd be more inclined to let the doctor in, I would feel like.
Yeah, exactly. I would let anyone in that didn't say that they were a reporter. Like,
No,
a
if you're
reporter?
trying to get in
Nah.
Lydia's house, just don't tell her you're a reporter.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and I guess I missed it, but you said that he
I'm a
was a
masked
psychiatrist,
murderer.
right?
Come on in. What?
You said he was the psychiatrist?
Yes.
Okay, so then, I mean, she at least could have passed it off as, "Hey, I'm a psychiatrist as well. I,
Mhm.
knew
trying
your husband in passing. I'm just curious. I had this patient. Seems, something in common." I don't know.
Yeah.
That's a good question. I didn't catch that he was a psychiatrist.
Her freaking out kind of seemed uncalled for as well, I think.
Yeah, that kind of gets weird because she's just like, she just all of a sudden is like, wait a minute, you told me you were a reporter. What are you doing here?
Oh,
Get out!
the widow, yeah.
And
I
just kind of
agree.
like,
I wouldn't have jumped to that conclusion either.
it's like, that's kind of weird.
Like, she asked one question that really didn't seem relevant to be upsetting to her. Didn't actually have anything to do with
Well, I think she told the
her
lady,
husband.
like, "Hey, your husband wasn't crazy. I'm seeing the same
Yeah.
things that he saw."
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I
Yeah.
mean, the question, she was just like, what's the name? What's the person's name? And she was like, get out.
Yeah, pretty much.
Like,
Because
what
it's
does
like,
the name matter?
yeah, and it's like, get out. And so,
I guess it just pushed her buttons enough.
yeah, I guess. But there's a scene where she goes home, and Trevor and her psychiatrist, who she's met with a few times, is at the house. And basically he just springs this intervention on her. And the psychiatrist shouldn't have known better. 100%.
Yeah.
Should have known better. So she leaves. She nopes out of there, goes back to good old our friend Joel. And we see this chain of different people killing themselves on the video. What do you think of this bit?
Oh, yeah. She's like in his apartment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
First of all, that's a really cool apartment.
It is.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
you can tell that there's a difference because he's got a super small apartment. She's got a real big house.
Yeah.
He's got a small one because he
But
doesn't
he's
get
got a
paid much.
nice little like bachelor pad. Like,
Yeah,
I don't
definitely
know
a
why,
B-pad
but
going on.
I'm so into the design of that. Like, I
It's nice.
I always gotta look
I
at that
get
kind of
you.
stuff.
Yeah, it's not bad.
I want a bachelor pad.
You have a house. You're not a bachelor or a bachelorette, and you have a house.
Yeah, no, you know.
You know, the heart wants what the heart wants.
But yeah, that they're sitting there watching those videos on the laptop of suicides and like looking up that stuff. They're like, what are we doing? And then the video, like they watch the first one and it's like as the gas station, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
And-
I don't know what to think about that. I'm just like, okay, that's kind of like from
silly.
kind of
That
like
one's-
from Sinister, you know, kind of
Yeah,
give me Sinister vibes.
Yeah, the gas station one was kind of. How does that guy kill himself?
He grabs a
takes
pair
the
of shears.
shears
That's
and
right.
stabs him in his
That's
neck in front of
right.
a
He
different
just-
guy.
Just in front of that woman, and then
Mm.
she kills herself a weird way too. And then they trace it back, and
Gouges
they're
her
like,
eyes out or something.
yeah.
I did
And
not
then they're
like
like-
looking at those pictures.
Oh, of him with his face bashed in from the hammer.
Uh-huh. Yeah, I did not like that.
Yeah, I'm sorry, you could probably not kill yourself with a hammer. You know how many times you have to beat yourself in the head to make it look like that? Unless you're
Well,
like
I think
completely
You
possessed.
could
I
if you're
suppose.
possessed by
possessed,
a
yeah.
Maybe.
monster.
They're
Yeah,
completely
maybe.
possessed by the time that they actually kill
Yeah, I
themselves.
guess because if you're like pop,
the-
pop, pop.
It's the
Big-
trauma demon.
Well, you're like, I don't think I can raise my arm anymore. Keep smashing
Yeah.
myself in the head.
Yeah, and that's
Yeah.
that's
It's
the thing about
almost-
this movie. If you have your own trauma, is that it's hard to watch when you see that kind of stuff. You're like, oh yeah, I don't know about that.
Yeah,
Kind of turns your stomach a little bit.
the Garden Shears one kind of makes me laugh because of the way it's shot.
And the way and their dialogue too is like they're sitting there on the couch and he's like he zooms all the way in, of course, and he's like, "Is he smiling?
Is that a smile?
yeah?" Like,
and then he just walks clear into the back of the frame and just goes, and you
Yeah.
just see like fucking cheap, like just blood splatter. And
gushing,
you're just like, I don't know
like a
about that.
sprinkler system.
Yeah. That should be more in a slasher movie. You want to get the blood spray in a slasher.
Mhm.
So they find out that there's a guy that survived. There's a guy that didn't die, and they found out. So they're like, okay, he's in prison. Let's go visit him. We have to visit him because he's the guy. He's the key. So they go visit him, and it's under the guise they did what she should have done with the old lady, which is she's a psychiatrist, and she has an interview with this guy. She's talking to him and finds out that he killed somebody in front of somebody else,
Mhm.
and in doing so, passed the curse. So, but there has to be a witness, you see, because somebody has to see it, and the trauma has to continue. Because that's how this thing survives, is by trauma. Which makes me wonder, if you have it and you kill yourself by yourself, does the demon die?
Well, that's what she tried to do.
That's exactly what I thought too.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. She was going to, and it stops her.
Yeah.
which yeah, I didn't catch that fully at first
Yeah.
on
Yeah.
first watch of it's actually stopping her from doing that, which
Yeah.
is pretty scary when you think about it.
But-
But it really doesn't like quite hand it to you
Yeah, but can
that it's
you
doing that.
Did it stop her? Because I don't want to jump to the end of the movie. We'll get there.
Yeah.
We'll get there.
So yeah. So anyway, he says you have to kill somebody in front of somebody else. You know, you basically what he tells her is you have to copy the videotape and then you have to pass it on to somebody else.
Yes, exactly. Exactly. Yeah.
So
Or
you know,
or it follows. You have to have sex
you
with
have to
somebody else.
you have to fuck someone, and then after it moves. What's really cool about It Follows, which we'll get into one day, is I like that it just buys you time and then it
I
comes
love
back. That's a
I
cool
love
concept.
that one. I was
But,
comparing this deeply to that movie the entire time.
Yeah. So anyway, what do you guys think of that as an out? Because it's actually pretty strong as far as you have to take somebody's life.
Mm-hmm.
You're probably going to go to jail because you're going to have one witness at least. Though to be fair, couldn't you just kill that person as well? You know,
Maybe.
No witnesses.
But
But
then
I mean, I'm
wouldn't you
just
be the
kind of
witness
getting
of
into the.
Yeah, no, I agree. That
No, because see, if you're a murderer, what if it possesses a psychopathic killer that's like, okay,
Yeah. Which is what that guy must have been.
well, he
to
wasn't
figure out
he wasn't.
that
He
was
said,
even a plan.
I wonder how he figured it out because
That's what
he's
I'm-
like regrets it horribly,
Uh-huh.
but he's like, it's the only way I can survive. And she's like, you brought it here, stay away from me.
Mhm.
You know,
Yeah.
guards. I
Yeah,
don't
he
want it back.
figured it out.
is he the one who says that he found some instances of this happening in like South America?
Yeah,
Yeah, so
'Cause I
he
think
must
that's
have
where he
done-
gets
He
it,
must
yeah.
have been really good at researching.
yeah.
Because he found more information than she obviously did.
Yeah. Well, to be fair, she just looked at a couple of videos from her ex-boyfriend and then was like, let's talk to this guy. That was kind of the research.
Yes.
I mean, how would you go about researching that? Demon that preys on people who
That's
Google,
the
bro.
thing. That's
Google,
the
bro.
thing. Yeah.
You Google that shit. People killing themselves in front of other people. That's how you do it.
Man, I
don't
feel
know.
like I don't
Yep.
get very good.
And then when the
Google
police knock on
results.
your door, we want to see your search history.
Well, I don't know if the police would just randomly knock on my door.
Yeah.
You
But
don't know.
yeah.
Well, okay, so back to your question. Do you like this as an out? I don't know if I like it as an out, but I like that there's a rule, like that
There's at least
now
a
we have
rule.
like a rule that we can follow.
Yeah.
Like,
And when I was so annoyed when they're driving and he says, nobody really has lasted outside of a week. And I was just like, no.
7 days.
Yeah. 7 days. But so she knows she's running out of time. I like a ticking clock as much as the next guy. So she goes and meets with her sister. And this is where some sketchy stuff starts to happen for me. Like, when I say sketchy, I mean some hinky stuff. So she meets with her sister. They have hinky, as in kind of.
Oh, okay.
I thought you said kinky. I was
I
like,
do too.
No,
what movie
no.
did you watch? Because I didn't see that one.
Hinky. It's kind of hinky, kind of,
I gotcha.
not on the level. So we get this, great dialogue scene between the two of them, between her sister and her, and we find out the backstory. We find out, she's like, I left you, and I feel bad that I left you, but I couldn't deal with the shit anymore. And, it sucks that you had to deal with it, and I carry that guilt that I had to have you deal with it because I couldn't do it. But your trauma's not mine, kind of thing. And you never got it properly looked at and all this stuff. So her sister runs into the house upset. She goes out in the car, she's sitting there, and we see her sister come down out of the house. Then her head just like twists upside down, like it's
falls
taffy
from
Yeah.
nowhere.
Yeah, like it's taffy. What do you guys think of this?
I laughed.
I laughed hard.
I laughed out
Yeah.
loud. Yeah,
I
I was
laughed
like,
out loud. Yeah.
I liked it because it was a different scare than
yeah,
a lot
it
of the other
startled
ones.
me.
The
And
concept is okay. The execution is no bueno.
I think the concept is
Worked for
bad,
me.
Well,
and
yeah,
the
it's not great either.
execution's not great, but it's sort of, it's
It's
still
weird.
It's
Yeah.
so weird. Yeah, it's like
It's
uncanny.
definitely different.
Yeah,
Yeah, I just
For
don't think it
sure.
looks very good. I don't think it looks very good.
It also
looks
happened really
dumb.
quick.
Yeah, it looks dumb. Yeah.
it looks dumb. But it is unsettling and sudden, so that
just-
kind of counts. you know?
It wasn't for me. It wasn't for me. It didn't
You
do
didn't-
anything for me.
You didn't
it
think that
made
was
me
a little
laugh.
unsettling?
No, because I was like, well, that's clearly the monster. What's it gonna do? And
Yeah.
then his head went, and I was like, what the fuck?
Yeah, it was weird. Definitely weird. It's memorable though. Give it that.
Yeah.
So
De-
I read the conversation that she had with her sister a bit different because it
Okay.
seemed
Uh-huh.
so she brought receipts, right? She brought this whole folder full of all these disgusting pictures, and
Mhm.
this is
Yeah.
her proof. And I think deep down she's trying to tell her sister she's made up her mind, like she knows how she's going to deal with this. She's either going to try to kill somebody or she's going to kill herself. And I felt like this was her like kind of trying to say goodbye to her sister.
Yeah, she's trying to make peace for sure.
Yeah, and obviously with what just happened, her sister was definitely not receptive of
Well, then
No.
she
that
should have.
conversation.
If that's what she was trying to do, she should have just done that instead of showing her these disgusting pictures
Well, I'm
and looking even more unhinged.
for
Yeah.
sure she looked unhinged, but in
Mhm.
her mind, like this was her like rationalizing it, like, look, I'm not crazy, look at all this.
Mhm.
And her sister's like, those are some disgusting fucked up pictures.
Yeah, it's
Why do
like,
you have those?
Don't bring those here after we just had to deal with what
Yeah.
you did. Like,
Yeah, I
the
definitely
cat.
think she was trying to, in a way, make amends, but she just kind of made it worse.
yeah.
Yeah, I agree. So Rose goes home and her psychiatrist shows up.
Mm-hmm.
And she's, sitting on the couch talking to her. She says, I'm sorry for ambushing you, whatever. And her phone rings, and her psychiatrist is on the phone, apologizing for ambushing her and everything. And she realizes that it's the entity staring at her. And the entity, yells at her, chases her around the house. What'd you guys think of this scene?
I'm sorry, her psychiatrist or whatever. Is that what we're talking about?
Yeah. Where the entity is pretending to be her psychiatrist.
Okay, so this is where I was talking about where it's trying to stop her because she is about to try to commit suicide here, I think. Right? Am I wrong?
Maybe I didn't read that from that.
No, I didn't either.
Okay.
I read that she went there basically just to I just read she went home and she's exhausted and she's just over it.
But she goes and I thought
She
grabs
pulls a knife.
Yeah.
Yeah, because she's debating on killing somebody. That's what she has to do to survive.
Right. Okay. So I read it as she's about to kill herself to just end this, and who shows up?
No,
Okay, well,
I
now
mean
I gotta
that
talk
could
to
be
her.
that could be one interpretation. That's not how I read it. I read it as her, looking at this knife like, I've got to kill somebody, and I don't know how, and I don't know if
Mhm.
I'm capable of that.
Right,
She
because you're
definitely
also kind of
tries to
thinking-
in her mind.
Because you're also thinking she'll just kill her psychologist or psychiatrist. Or whatever.
Yes, which is a great. She has the knife; it's there,
Mhm.
but she can't because there's not a third party. There has to be 3 people there.
right.
Somebody has to witness the trauma.
So that's why I kind of decided okay, so she must the demon thing, the smile demon thing was trying to stop her from committing suicide because then it would have ended.
Yeah,
possibly.
I mean, and again, that could be one interpret. I didn't read it that way myself.
I do think that this is an insight into how. So this movie is really about breaking the person down to the point where their will to live is no more, and that
Right.
is the
Or is
invitation
the
that
opposite. Yeah, because it's to because either way the demon wins, right? So it's
Mhm.
either to make them where the will to live is no more that they have no will to fight back, or
Yeah.
that their will to live is so strong that they're willing to kill somebody else to continue the chain of trauma.
Mhm.
The movie's about trauma. That's what the underlying message of the movie is about the how trauma uh, uh, it expands and trauma follows people,
Mhm.
and
infects every
trauma
part of your life.
infects people that are also dealing with trauma.
Mhm.
So like your trauma can affect your loved ones, that sort of thing.
Yeah, I do think that
It's an
this
allegory
was
for that.
yeah. I think that this was the like kind of a confident showing that the demon had. I don't call it a
Yeah,
demon,
the
spirit,
monster,
whatever,
the
the
monster,
monster.
the smile
Because this
entity.
is the first time that it talks to her
Yeah,
and
directly.
tells her
Yeah.
like I'm gonna like I feel like this was him like saying, hey, I'm working my way through, like you're breaking down and I'm gonna get you,
Yeah, I got you.
him or whatever.
I
Yeah,
also
yeah,
think
yeah.
that woman does have a creepy smile.
She kind of does.
See,
A little
it
Botox.
didn't do it for me.
Her
'Cause she's
jaw
following her-
Didn't do it
like,
as much.
No, she's following around the house and she's like in her face, and I was just like
her
laughing
mouth
again. Like
is
I was like, what
strange.
the fuck? What the fuck? So then she gets the knife and she goes to the hospital, she enters it, and she's like, I'm going to kill this guy because that's what I'm gonna have to do. The one dude. And
I think that
so
this is so telling
dude,
of what
and
she thinks of her boss.
So she starts laughing. The guy starts smiling at her, doing the smile thing, and he's like super dude. This is where I really laughed. I was like, what the fuck? So the boss comes in and she stabs old boy like multiple times in the chest. And he's like, Rose, what are you doing? Her boss, played by Cal Penn, what are you doing? And then we snap to, and she hasn't done it.
Yes.
What'd you guys think of this scene?
That was freaky.
I did not think so.
I was so shocked that it was just showing this like stabbing. I think that's what really shocked me. Not like
Dude,
nothing else.
No,
I
I knew it was a hallucination.
Yeah, because he doesn't die.
Well, I mean, I knew it was a hallucination while it was happening. I was like, oh, no, there's no way, because then the movie would just end right there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, good point.
Because we already know it works. We already know it works. What'd you think, Derek?
I felt like this was the first time maybe that you couldn't trust the movie in where it was headed, because this was a very violent showing. I mean, she tried to essentially pass this curse off to her boss, which I think says a lot about him.
Yeah.
And then
he
she
seems like
wakes
a
up.
good guy, though. I feel like he's just
I
trying
know
to do his
she doesn't
job.
seem to like
I don't
him.
think.
Yeah.
I don't think he does that good of a job, because she should not have been at work after witnessing what she witnessed, for one.
Well,
and he says that, but like
he tells her. Well, he tells her not.
nothing.
No, he gives. She's off. Like he wants her to
That's
leave.
right. Yeah, he's like, you need to take a couple days off. That's
Yeah,
right.
and then he gives her paid leave. He's a good boss. He's doing his
Okay.
job.
Not too bad. Not too bad.
Poor Cal Penn just fucking trying to do his job and having people fucking being murdered in front of it. Except they weren't, because it was a hallucination.
Yes.
And then
go ahead.
Go ahead. No, go ahead.
Well, I was gonna say, so don't you think this scene could have been cut to make this movie a little bit shorter?
For sure,
Probably.
it could have.
Yeah.
We could have done without this scene.
Yeah, I think the only thing that it
It's
really
there
does
to show
is-
that to show that she's willing to do it, but then she's really not willing to do it, because once she realizes that it's, that it was just another hallucination, she couldn't bring herself to do it. So it's supposed to show her like humanity, I suppose. But yeah, it could have probably been. There's a couple scenes that could have been cut probably to Shrink that runtime a little bit.
It's like, has anyone ever requested a cut version, like a cut down, shorter version of a movie? Because
Oh yeah,
that's what I
yeah.
want from this.
So she decides that she knows what she has to do. I guess. I mean, I really don't understand her plan, so to speak, but she goes to her childhood home, which is this derelict, awful, rundown piece of crap. And we get a flashback of her mom laying on the bed, going through ODing and telling her to call the police and call 911, and she doesn't. She lets her go and leaves. And it comes back and her mom's dead. So essentially she lets her die. Like she doesn't do anything to prevent her death. And that's the guilt and trauma she's been living with this whole time. What do you guys think of that?
That's heavy.
It is heavy. Yeah. That's heavy, Doc.
I definitely think that she came to the cabin in the woods. Kind of felt like that.
Yeah.
I do think that she went there to commit suicide. That's my take on it. Now, we got like this false ending.
Yeah, well, except that she doesn't. Yeah, she like trying to fight the monster. But we
Well,
do get this
also-
false ending.
Go ahead.
We do get this false ending. And we'll talk about this ending. Go ahead and continue what you're saying.
But I feel like she had either one of two thoughts. One, I'm going to face the trauma that this.
I think that's what it was. She's going to face the
see
trauma.
if I can overcome this demon.
Yeah, yeah.
Or I'm going to kill myself in a place where nobody could witness it, and I'm going to keep the curse.
Yeah,
contained.
like either way, it's gonna end. Might as well go out fighting, trying.
Yeah. And guys, I've got to say, I'm going to be 100% transparent and honest. I think this ending, this third act, is bad.
Mm-hmm.
I do not like it. Because I do not like her fighting a 12-foot CGI version of her mom.
Yeah.
That did not do it for me. What do you think?
What do you think, Derek?
I actually did like it. I thought it was it's like their interpretation of their the physical interpretation of their trauma distorted in a way that represents the entity. Now, I mean, it would have been better if it were more practical effect. And
It's
less
just not scary.
CGI.
It's just not scary.
Oh, I don't. Yeah, I wouldn't classify it as scary.
No, that's what it's supposed to be. It's supposed to be scary, and it is not. It's like
what is it? The stick guy. What's
Slenderman?
the other one from that they're doing now a movie on?
Oh,
They were in
Crooked
Yes.
Man.
the Crooked Man. Kind of reminded me of the Crooked Man a little bit.
Oh,
You know what it reminded me of?
What?
It Follows.
Yeah, kind of. Yeah, when
The tall guy coming through
when the tall guy
down the hall.
in the bedroom.
Yep.
Yeah, I just didn't like it because I was like,
I don't remember that part.
That was the scariest damn part.
I'm pretty sure.
is
I've
that
seen
really
movie.
tall guy? They're like blocked in the bedroom,
Uh-huh.
and it's coming through, and it's a really tall guy, but it's like a real dude and not like some weird CGI.
I don't know why I
giant.
didn't pick that movie.
I don't know why
Talk
it-
about this
that-
one.
That's just really interesting. Like that choice, I was like,
Yeah.
Like I get what you're saying, Derek. That's her manifestation of her
Mm-hmm.
trauma, and I have no problem with the entity taking form as her mom. I think that would have been great. I think if it was her, I think if it was just her mom the whole time chasing her, and we get a big chase scene, and it's flapping through door, you know what I mean? That's
Mhm.
scary and traumatizing. But that she grows like 10 feet tall and is
Mhm.
like crawling around through stuff is silly. It's just too silly for the tone that they've set for this movie.
Yeah, I didn't mind. I really didn't mind the tall. I kind of liked. I don't know why, but I kind of like seeing that. I think because It Follows
Did not like
kind of
it.
scared me with that. So I was like, okay, that's kind of cool that it's like really big. That's creepy. I don't know. I thought that was kind of creepy, but I didn't really like where it ended up going. With
No,
it.
it goes. I'd hate where it goes. Yeah.
That's the worst part.
I
for
actually
me.
felt like if they would have ended with her defeating this thing,
Mhm.
that would have been a really good ending.
I mean, as far as the ending goes, that would have been fine, except for the terrible fucking thing that I hate. But I would have been like, that's fine. You know, that's a good, solid ending.
Yeah, it's an
But-
uplifting one. It's
Yeah,
a triumph
well,
over.
It's
Evil.
the ending the trauma, just dealing with the trauma.
Yeah,
It's what
Yeah.
the story should be about.
Yes. That's
and
what it
then-
should be about, right?
Yeah, and that's fine if you want to make sequels. You can always find a way to bring the thing back. Somebody else witnessed something at the same time.
well, not only
that
that,
was
but they already
traumatic.
gave an opportunity for that because the guy was like, I researched that something like this happened before in South. Like, there is
Yeah.
an out for that where they could have this like a self-contained movie where she
Yeah.
comes out on top.
Yeah, but yeah, and I hate that they used the hallucination 3 times in a row. Like literally 3 times in a row. We
Yeah.
had it with, the psychiatrist.
Mm-hmm.
We had it at the hospital, and then we had it at the end that she hallucinates again. She goes over to Joel's house, and then he's like, "Ha ha ha! Ha, I'm really the smile monster."
Yes.
And you're
Which also not a very scary
Oh.
smile on that
Terrible.
guy.
Terrible, terrible. And then I hate it seeing its form. We never should have seen its form. Ever,
Really?
ever. No, it's scarier not seeing its form and you wondering what it looks like.
I think it would have been, it would have come across better if it would have just stayed her mom just like attacking.
Yeah,
I
the whole
completely
time.
agree with that. That being said, I mean, it's okay. It
And
wasn't
I
great.
hate-
It wasn't groundbreaking or anything like that.
Yeah.
It's all right.
Yeah, it's fine. I mean, it has the multiple mouths. It's okay. But it's like also just, it's a humanoid form. It's just this,
I actually
it's
do like whenever it peels its face off and it's like got rows
that
of teeth
was
and
The best
it's a
scene
great-
it
of
like
the whole
opens
movie.
her mouth and like
it's a great
goes
effect.
in.
But I
Yeah.
hate that it crawls into her mouth. That's
Yeah. It's
Possession. It's like a physical representation.
it's the
of
thing that we've seen a bunch of times too.
It's
kind
very
of derivative.
80s.
everything.
It's very,
Yeah,
like
very
80s
derivative.
to me that her jaw gets stretched open. Like that's kind of
Yeah, and
cartoonish.
crawls into it, and
Yeah.
it like doesn't. The problem is the tones, is the
Uh-huh.
conflicting tones of all of it.
Conflicting tones. Okay, now we're getting
yeah.
somewhere.
Yeah. So, but it is what it is. It's fine. What do you guys think of the actual ending? Because I don't like it.
I don't like it either. I don't like it either. But
I
there
don't
are
like it either.
but there are parts of it that I do like. And that's why I needed to talk about this movie,
I mean,
guys. The
I hate
conflicting
the
tones.
ending.
The ending
I
is
liked
awful.
the first ending that was a fake out.
Yeah.
I liked that a lot, but
She catches he comes in and she's like pouring gas on herself,
Mhm.
and he just stands there while she continues to pour gas on herself.
While she's
and
smiling.
slowly lights a match, even though he's seen all this stuff. And instead
He
of
could
I
have
don't know,
tackled her.
going tackling her, knocking the matches out, doing whatever he can, he's just
Yeah.
like.
Just stares at her. Don't do anything, whatever you do.
Then we get this shot of
But
her,
I like
his
that
eye,
shot.
and we see her burning, and then we just end,
Yeah.
and then you just leave the movie in the theater like,
You're like, what?
what's the point of that? You know?
Yeah. Yeah.
Because it's
Yep.
not even a monster that we can root for and like. Like, yeah, we love it when at the end of a Halloween movie, we hear the shapes breathing, and we
Yeah.
know he's still out there because we fucking like that guy.
Yeah.
And we know about him.
Yeah.
This
Or
is
like-
just like an entity.
Or like the end of The Babadook,
Yeah.
right? Which is also a movie about trauma.
The Babadook
And how to
handles
live with
trauma
it.
way better.
Way better.
Way better.
And it has like, man, I
The right
freaking
ending.
love
Yeah.
that movie. It has the right ending,
Because-
the perfect ending.
Because she is still, that trauma is still chained down there,
Uh-huh.
but she is now in control of it,
yes,
which
she
is
lives-
so
she has
beautiful.
learned to live with it.
Yeah, which is so beautiful. Yeah.
Yep. That's what it is.
That's what it is.
Oh
Yeah.
shoot!
So, not a fan of the ending. The whole third act, I'm not a fan of.
I
I would
actually
be a
did
much.
think that the creature thing was scary, like the mouths and the
I think it's cool.
face
I didn't think it
ripping
was.
and the body.
I didn't think it was scary. I think it's kind of funny, to be honest. Like it's fucking this silly looking.
Like it's kind of like metal, like it's kind of rock
Yeah,
and roll,
it rocks, but it's not like it's not scary. But the freaking the tall mom, that's going to be a no for me. Regular mom terrorizing her, scary and good.
How do you think they did that? Because I was actually wondering if that was like the guy who plays Mama with like the long limbs and the long
kind
fingers.
of looks like it, but I think there's a lot of CG there too.
Yeah, like they definitely
Like there's CG enhancement.
Yeah.
Which is the bane of modern horror movies. Don't do it, guys.
Yeah, we talked
Just
about
stop. Just stop.
Yeah.
Build that shit.
Yep.
Yeah. And I don't like the makeup on the mom either when she's like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, when she's big.
When she's big. Yeah,
like
I don't like it.
That's what made me think like that's like a man. Like
yeah. It's just
doesn't
not
even look
good.
like the actress. So I couldn't figure that out. But
it doesn't look scary, it just looks weird. Kind of looks like a Klingon of some sort.
Yeah, and it happens kind of quick, but then they show it to you again. And you're like, okay, I'm really looking at this. And yeah, something's off here.
Yeah, I don't think
weird
I like
about
it.
This. But yeah, the fake out is annoying. It's annoying. 3 fake outs.
3 fake outs in a row.
And we're already like 2 hours in, you know?
Yeah.
It's like, oh, come on. What are we doing?
Come on, Eileen.
Yes.
That is Smile, guys. So what are you guys' thoughts? We talked a lot about it.
Man,
what are you guys'
so
thoughts?
many thoughts. I have so many thoughts.
Who wants to start? Derek, do you want to start? Do you want me to start?
Sure, I can start.
All right.
So I think this movie, it does borrow from a lot of movies. And a lot
Most
of
movies do. I'm not going to give it too much shit for that. Everybody does. But this follows kind of too closely for some things, I feel like.
I think that the acting for the most part in this movie is really good.
Across the board, I think it's good. Yeah.
Pretty well cast.
I think she's great.
She is great. I really liked her performance in this. I think, there was just like some little mannerisms that really did it for me as far as, somebody being in that situation and what they would, like you would see like the little ticks, and she nailed it.
Yeah, she's really, really good. Yeah.
I thought that the story had some promise. Like it did have some promise. It would have been cool to like set up more lore than just like the little bit that we got to give us.
There's sequels for that, I guess, but
for sure.
Yeah.
And the thing that really I didn't like about this movie, because there were like some scenes where like, this pretty suspenseful. I could feel the suspense. The ending is just not what it could have been. If they would have ended with her beating the monster and reconciling with her old boyfriend because he's stuck with her.
Check this out. I mean, I don't mean to interrupt, but check this out. I would even be okay with the reconciling with the boyfriend. None of that shit needs to happen. I think the last shot of this movie should have been her walking out of her house on fire.
Well, that would have also,
because then you have anywhere to go for the sequel. That monster could still be alive.
Yeah.
Okay, so that I think you just nailed it for me. It's like they wanted to have both. They wanted to have their cake and eat it too, right? They wanted to have her facing her trauma and beating it, and then they also wanted to have her not beating it. So it's like just pick one. She should have made a choice to not face her trauma and then get taken out by it. If that's how they wanted to end it, is her being taken out on fire like that. They should have ended it with her making the choice not to face it, because the fact that she faced her trauma and got taken out is not fair to the audience or to her, to the character.
It's kind of like the Nightmare on Elm Street ending, where she totally does exactly what you expect her to do, and then they're like, we want a sequel. So we're going to take that back. We just gave it to you. You're going to take it back.
Except it's less intrusive because it's not, because it's still open-ended. Nightmare's ending is still open-ended, right? Like anything can still happen after that.
Like she's not dead.
Definitive. Nancy's not dead. Yeah.
exactly.
Go
But,
ahead, Derek. Continue.
No,
Sorry.
I agree. I think that would have actually been the perfect ending. The second okay ending would have been her reconciling with her boyfriend because of how douchey her other boyfriend was.
Yeah.
But the one that we got, man, really just took it down. If it would have ended exactly where you said it should have ended with her walking out of the house and the house on fire, I probably would have gave this movie an 8. Like I
Mhm.
thought, I did like it. I thought it was okay. But I'm gonna give this movie a 7 because that ending sucked.
How about
Oh,
you,
man.
Lydia?
Yeah, I think oh man, I think I'm there with you. I think it is around a 7 because I don't know, man. This is hard, guys, because her acting really
Yeah, she's
elevates
great.
the crap out of this movie, and for the fact that it is so long, I'm glad we're with her for all of it, and that makes it watchable. So, because she really does a fantastic job, and I don't think I've ever seen her in anything else. So
No,
this
I
is me
haven't
coming in
either.
as like a
Yeah.
new fan, kind of. But yeah, the ending is wrong. Like we said, it should have maybe been like, yeah, reconciling with the ex, and figuring out something there so we have some idea of what's going on, and then maybe making a choice not to face that trauma. That way we can have the ending that we had of it being like, if you want to make it like, a punch in the guts, it's like
Hmm.
you can do that. That's not a
Yeah, of
bad
course you
thing.
can. It's a horror movie. I mean,
And I like the
that's
shot of his eyes being lit up with her on
yeah.
fire. I think that's kind of a good moment. But I think, yeah, so many things have been stolen in this, and like it kind of made me feel like there was like an algorithm that
Writing
they
it.
yes,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Like it's like almost too perfect and didn't quite work in some instances. But this movie did get to me. I'm not gonna
So
lie there. So that makes me think something's right.
what are you gonna give it? A 7?
Oh man, is it a 7?
I
I
mean,
got a question for you
you could
guys.
wait for me, and then then you can decide. Tell you what I'm gonna give it.
Okay,
got
what
a-
are you gonna? I'll wait.
What, Derek?
I got a question for you. Do you feel like this was the original intent of the director? Or do you feel like somebody watched a rough cut and been like, man, that's great. We think this movie will do well. We'll probably want a sequel. You should throw this other in so that we can
No,
keep it going.
I
You
think
think
it's
this was the original
yeah,
intent?
I do.
Because that's
I
unfortunate.
do.
Because I think that they really could have elevated this movie.
Yeah, I do. I mean, Lydia, you said that you felt like it was kind of, written by an algorithm or whatever. And there's all these elements from other movies. It's based off of an 11-minute short that they stretched to a nearly 2-hour movie.
Yeah.
So, in the short form, that works great because it's like, boom, scary. We've done multiple shorts, and like I could not make a feature length version of fucking Cut Off. It's a 7-minute story. It's a story of that's the guy getting cut off, that happening, and then this funny blah blah, those twist ending. We're out. I mean, it's not manufactured to be more than that. But if you're trying to stuff more into, something that's not there, then that's kind of what I think you get.
They overstuffed it.
I'm going to give this movie a 6.
A 6.
A 6.
Okay.
Yeah. I think it's fine. I think the stuff that works it works. Like I said, I think it's beautifully shot. I think it's well directed. I just don't think it's scary at all. There's not one instance. I didn't even have a jump scare in this movie, guys.
Really? Not even
a
when
single.
she was listening to the audio file?
No, because I knew it was going to happen.
We didn't talk about that.
Yeah, knew it was going to happen. I just didn't get not a single jump scare.
Yeah, that one's pretty obvious that it's about to be a jump scare. You're like, okay, let's listen in real close to this quiet.
Not a bad idea. It's well executed. None of it really landed for me. I think the acting is great across the board. think the scenes are well directed. The suspense is kind of there for the scenes that they're supposed to be. It didn't land for me. It just didn't land. And the ending totally, I mean, I maybe would have given it a little higher, but the ending just, I do not like at all.
Yeah.
And you guys like more of the stuff that preceded it than I did, because I just didn't like the entire third act at all. It just, the monster thing, I was laughing. I was literally laughing while I was watching it. I was like, what? I was laughing out loud. The monster's like, yeah, you'll get me. And I'm like, what the fuck? I don't know. People smiling don't scare me, guys.
Yeah.
It's not one of my fears. So
That's
6 for me.
Never been one of my fears either.
Yeah.
And I feel like I have to say this out loud, but because I wonder if like the face thing, because by the time we get to the demon face ripping his face off situation.
Yeah, which is a cool shot. Yeah.
All the way up from that, the thing that had freaked me out the most was the gory photos of like people.
That's because
that were dead,
there's some
you know?
realism in that. Yeah.
There and I just have to say that I wonder if that got to me so much because I have trauma in my life that I can't unsee, and I really did not want to look at those pictures for fear of being traumatized. And I've said this before, where I've watched horror movies that most people don't find scary, and I can't look at them sometimes because of this. And I'm like, I don't want to be traumatized by movies or by life.
You want to have fun with them,
any more than what I've already been traumatized in my life, you know.
Well,
and I did not want to look at this thing pulling its skin off of its face. I did not want to look, and that hasn't happened to me in a while. Where I'm like,
that's the shit I'm all about.
I can't look.
I mean, the skin rips.
I know, and it really set me up in that way of like really being afraid to see what this thing's face is gonna look like. And when I saw it like keep continuing down, it really affected me.
You know, I think it's also when you saw it and how you saw it.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I was just in a kind of susceptible, but also at the same time I was laughing at stuff, and I was, you know, like, this movie is something else. Like,
yeah,
the whole time. So, but it still got to me in the end. So I think I want to give it like a 7.5, because honestly, I think this movie is gonna like be around for a while. Like, I think people are gonna be talking about this for a while.
I think they'll be talking about it until the sequel comes out.
Do you think there will be a sequel?
There's going to be. It's been greenlit.
Oh, that's right. Oh,
remember we talked about it
last week, I think.
So what do you think the sequel will be about?
Well, it could be about, I mean, I don't think it's going to be as obvious as being about
Kyle Gallner's character.
Which would be the next logical step. I mean, it could, but we could either get him at the beginning, passing it on to somebody else who has to figure it out, or just he figured out he killed somebody to escape it. He is a cop. He could shoot somebody and get away with it.
With a witness.
The police do that shit all the time.
Yeah, but a witness, man.
And the thing about this rule, kind of the thing that I don't like about the rule is, like, it kind of makes me think of like Final Destination, of like, you can't escape death. You know what I mean? Like stuff like that.
But it was
parts that weren't very scary.
It was a fun watch. All right, Derek, it's your turn to pick. But before we do, it's our favorite part of our show, which is when we are going to Atkinize Smile. Who should the great Tom Atkins play?
Thrill me. Thrill me. Thrill me. Thrill me. Thrill me.
Detective, thrill me.
Yeah, sorry. I know you like Kyle Gallner, but he's gone. It's now Tom Atkins.
Damn it. Yeah, I guess.
Tom
there's
Atkins
not very many
now?
characters in this.
Well, it's always Tom Atkins whenever. That's the rule. So if we put 80s Tom Atkins in this movie, this might raise up to about an 8 for me.
Yeah, he goes to the age that we want him to be, or the age of the character.
Yeah.
That is.
Yeah. So I'm saying he's that character. This is a solid 8 for me.
Or her boss.
Yeah, but that guy's part's too small. I want to see Tom in it. So him hang out. When we could also see why she's running back to her ex-boyfriend if it's Tom fucking Atkins.
Why did she run away?
Yeah,
Because he
why?
pushed her away from his hard drinking life.
She pushed him away because of her trauma that she
That's true.
couldn't handle. She
Yep.
didn't want him to see what she
Her
had going on in
flaws.
her.
Yes. Yeah.
And that's
So, yeah.
that's a heavy damn thing to be carrying around.
Tom Atkins.
I could see that. I probably would have put it. I mean, even at like a current age, he could have been the guy who survived.
Yeah, but he
That's a
has
really
only one
small
scene.
part. I know.
Yeah, one
I
scene.
know.
So yeah, it's
Oh, that guy.
100%.
Yeah.
It's 100% the boyfriend character.
All right.
All right.
Fine.
Bye, Kyle. Derek, what are we watching next week?
And there's so many good movies. Although today, so I was listening to YouTube Music, and I had it on like the 90s, like chill out music. And gosh, man, what was the name of the song? I was humming it earlier.
Yeah, you were.
Like,
Yeah, I don't remember.
da, 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 da. They're out
Batman?
to get me.
Ring
So
around
it's
the
the-
rosy.
No,
No,
it's the,
you know what? It's
the
paranoia,
faculty.
paranoia. Everybody's coming to get me.
So next
Full
week
sitta.
Yep,
we
yep.
are going to watch The Faculty.
Oh,
Oh,
okay. I
Haven't
actually
seen that
watched
movie.
that not too long ago.
What?
Yeah, I did. It's on HBO Max.
nice.
I was going through and I was like, huh, I'll watch this one.
Oh, dang.
Great.
We're going to have to take
right.
notes on this one.
Yep, The Faculty, guys. Going back to the 90s. All right, that's a good choice.
Yeah.
Robert Rodriguez's The Faculty, by the way.
This has got Elijah Wood, right?
Yep.
Elijah Wood.
It's
Josh
got,
Hartnett.
Ton
Josh
of
Hartnett.
people.
Yeah, it has
Yeah.
a lot of.
It's got all of the 90s people in there. Disturbing Behavior is the one with Katie Holmes.
Yeah.
I've never seen that one.
Yeah. You never seen that one?
Uh-uh.
And then Teaching Miss Tingle is the one with Seventh Heaven Kid.
Never seen that one either.
Guys, you know a movie we've got to do sometime because it's interesting is Boogeyman.
Oh yeah.
Have we
Remember
not
that
done
movie?
Boogeyman?
Have
We've
we
not
done
done Boogeyman yet.
that? We
Oh,
did Darkness Falls.
Darkness Falls.
We did
that's right.
Darkness
I always get
Falls,
those mixed
which is
up.
it's kind of a fun movie too. Darkness Falls is pretty fun. We kind of
Yeah,
gave it pretty
no,
good
I-
ratings, right?
I liked Darkness
That
Falls.
one popped up on my TV today, and I was like, oh,
I think I was the one
Yeah.
who recommended
You're
it.
like, damn, yeah. That one, I think we gave that one solid 7s across the board.
Probably.
do you think it's as
Derek.
good as Smile?
I think it's better than Smile. I don't really. I think Smile's a better made movie, but Darkness Falls has you leave the theater feeling better.
Yeah, it's like they say, it's like Smile is like the Darkness Falls of the 2000s. It's like
They say that, do they?
The 2020s. They say Smile is like the 2020s version of The Ring
yes,
because
I
it
mean,
is.
it kind of is, right?
Yeah.
Gosh, guys, I really need to just study this movie and figure
Yeah,
out
we need to
every.
study. We need to do The Ring sometime soon as well. Derek, do you have a story for us tonight?
Yeah, I just thought of one.
All right, hit
This
us
one's-
with it.
This one's gonna be fun. So I was watching racing, I think, and my cousin was like visiting. Right, I don't like racing, but for whatever reason, it was on the TV, and I'm like, huh. Hey, Bub, do you want to go? You want to take Grandpa's car,
Oh no, I already don't like where this is going.
and you want to go
Always
down
taking
to
cars.
Yeah, you want to go? You want to take Grandpa's car, and we'll go down to Mechanical Park, and we'll race around like the thing as fast as we can.
Dangerous.
Mechanical Park has like, how big would you say that little circle is? Not very
It's
big.
not that big, and so like
Yeah.
there was nobody in the park, so there was
The parking lot? Is that what
Yeah.
you're talking about?
yeah.
Yeah, we're around the basketball court.
Oh, okay. I was
Yeah.
picturing like the entire like scenic drive.
No, you're talking
Where
about
people
actual.
walk.
You're talking about actual Mac Park, right? Around the basketball court?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. So that circle around the basketball court.
Yeah. And I was like, let's take Grandpa's car and we'll go race. Man, I'm an idiot. Then so like we get down there and I'm like, I'll go first. And so we're like going around these curves. It's a spot that there was nobody there. And it had rained recently.
Uh-oh.
Oh no.
Dude, I took one of those curves and I was headed towards, I had an option. Why I chose the option I chose, I don't know. But I was like, I could hit this picnic table or I could run into the tree. And so I chose on purpose the tree.
Oh no.
Because I was like, oh my gosh, man, this picnic table's going to screw up like the car.
Tree that's rooted into the ground.
Wow. What? There's like a creek over there too. Could have like
Yeah,
fallen
I
in.
mean, there's so many things that like could have went wrong. But, the
So
one thing that
what
did go
happened?
wrong is Noah hit that tree. And we're like, oh my gosh, what are we going to do? And so like I back up because the car's still functional. I
Did
back
you hit
up
it head
and,
on?
it's kind of to the side.
Oh.
And the wheel is like a woo, woo. And so we didn't
Oh.
live but like 4 blocks away from the
My
Mechanical Park.
God.
So I drove this car like, and it literally was like wobbling. So I drove it back to my grandparents' house and just parked it.
Derek. Derek, how do you have these stories?
I don't know, but I mean, I'm pretty sure it eventually came out that I did it. But
Oh my God! What happened to the? I don't know. Fucking wheels
Yeah,
fucked up. It's
yeah.
like,
My
But
wheel is
so-
falling off. Don't know why.
But here's the thing: like this also was the same car
oh,
that Joey and Matt and I were driving around, and like there were these 2 girls that they went to school with. They were walking down the street. And I'm like, Matt's in the back seat, dude, and Joey's in the passenger seat, and I'm like, hey, I got Joey and Matt over here. Like I'm yelling at these girls. I'm catcalling them for them, and Matt is so embarrassed, dude. He kicks my seat so hard it literally breaks, and so like. It like flops back. And so I had to put a 2x4 in the back seat so that it could prop up the front seat because the seat
Oh
was
my
broke.
gosh.
He kicked it so hard.
we drove a car like that. Nick, one of Nick's, one of my buddy Nick's, his car. It was a Buick, but it was missing its K, so we used to call it the Buick. And the Buick we used to say was a 4-seater because it would seat the front, the passenger, or the driver, the passenger, and then the back passenger in the back middle, because there was a cane propping up the driver's side seat.
What?
Yeah, it was like a fucking medical cane just popped up, so that's how Nick had to drive. The jankiness that you used to live with.
I know, man. I'm telling you, I'm gonna like put all kinds of sensors and things like that in Clark's first car
Yeah.
because I know how we are.
Oh my God. Well,
Good Lord.
Derek, you do. Derek did drive throughout town backwards one day.
I did
He drove in reverse
in a
from the circus building to Taco John's, where Taco John's used to be, and then back.
no, dude. It was from the bowling alley.
Oh, from the bowling alley. You're right. From the
Yeah.
bowling alley to there. So clear across town, just driving backwards. Me and Carrie are in the car, and
In a rental, by the way. I rented it when I was in college so that I could come home and visit everybody. And it was a Prius or a Prius.
Prius, and it didn't have a backup camera because this is before they existed. So
Yeah,
Derek's
so I
just
was
like
this.
this.
Well, I told
So
Carrie,
stupid.
I was like, man, I'm an expert at backing up. And she's like, okay. I'm like, I'll show you. Watch this. And I drove like halfway through town backwards.
Oh my gosh.
Stopping at traffic lights and shit. We're literally at a stoplight backwards.
Oh, those were the days.
So dumb. So, guys, tell us if you ever drove through a town backwards and broke any laws. Be sure to comment on this episode on what your thoughts on Smile was. Next week, we will be watching The Faculty. So that'll be fun. Put on your 90s glasses for that. You can follow us online at HiLaProductions.com. You can follow us on Facebook at HiLa Productions. Follow us on Twitter. You can follow Lydia at Lydia Spooky. Follow Derek at BDoglyMaster. And you can follow me at Racket. Be sure to comment, like, share, and subscribe. It helps us grow the channel. And until next week, for Derek LeMaster and Lydia Judy, I'm Jamie Hiles. Remember, if you're going to scream bloody movies.